So PIQs or personal insight questions for transfer students. There is one required question, and then there are three questions of your choice that you're going to choose out of seven that you're going to respond to. So one required, and then three of your choice that you're going to respond to in the application. All of the questions hold equal value in our process. No one question is more important than the other. It's about telling your story, so we get to know more about you. Each question has a 350 word maximum per response. So let's say you answer that required question, you have 350 words for that one response. You should be focusing on the content and the context. We're not worried about the style of your writing or if you have very eloquent writing. We're really trying to get to know who you are as an individual beyond the academic factors in your application. And then it's always important to ensure all your responses are focused on you, almost the entirety of the PIQ response, especially because they're super short. So just make sure that they're all focused on you and your experiences and that story that you want to tell about who you are. Can I get to the next slide, please? So the first question that you'll see is the required question. This question is, please describe how you have prepared for your intended major, including your readiness to succeed in your upper division courses once you enroll at the university. So this is a required question for all transfer students, all transfer applicants to the UC system. The important thing here is we're trying to understand what has brought you to the point of interest in your major. So what are those background pieces of information and how have you explored this interest area in preparation for your major beyond the classroom? We already ask for all your coursework that you've taken. We see all your grades that you have gotten during your time at a California community college or another institution. So we know about your academic preparedness, but we want to see what you have been doing beyond the classroom to really enrich your understanding and preparedness for that major. So that could be internships, that could be work, that could be family things, that could be research. It could be a lot of different things that are helping you develop a skill set for your major and being prepared to succeed in upper division coursework. And then also tying this to your long-term goals, whether it's your major and beyond. What are your life goals as well? So there's a lot of things that you can talk about here, but I really want to emphasize that it's not reiterating your academic coursework because we already ask for that. It's the other things that are helping you prepare for your major. Next slide, please. So this is the first question of the 7 potential questions that you will choose 3 to answer from. So this question says, describe an example of your leadership experience in which you have positively influenced others, helped resolve disputes, or contributed to a group effort. So leadership can be a lot of different things. It could be things that are very traditional, like a club at your community college or for your institution where you are in a leadership role. Maybe you're the president of a club or the treasurer or vice president. But this could also be family responsibilities. Sometimes we have transfer students that already have families and they're taking care of young children. So they have a lot of leadership in their family, or maybe they're taking care of older relatives in their family, taking them to doctor visits and wherever they might need to go. And then also leadership is inside of work. A lot of transfer students have jobs. They work maybe part-time or full-time jobs. And what is your leadership there? Maybe you have a specific title that is providing you leadership. And then leadership can come from beyond. There's folks who have a lot of community leadership because they work in community organizing. Maybe they have something that's specific to their specific community that is maybe more based on traditional things. Maybe you have leadership in a religious organization. But the big thing here with the leadership one is telling us what your role is as a leader and what is your impact. Did you have a specific impact as a leader? And define it and tell us what that is. If there's quantifiable numbers that you can put behind it, definitely tell us those things as well. We don't want you to tell us about defining leadership or leadership principles or how you look at leadership. It's about the action of you as a leader. So that's the important thing with this question. It's one of them that you can choose to answer. Next slide. The next potential question that you can answer is every person has a creative side and it can be expressed in many ways. Problem solving, original and innovative thinking, and artistically. To name a few, describe how you express your creative side. So this can be something where you are going to talk about some of those traditional art practices like painting and photography, maybe ceramics and those types of things, but it can also be beyond the traditional arts where you are creating solutions in the world and the environment that you are experiencing. Um, but the important thing with this question is telling us how you're being creative. Those are some of the strongest PIQ responses we see is when a student tells us the creative process that they have gone through to maybe complete an art piece or solve a problem in their community. But describing that process of, let's say, creating an art piece where you're telling us how did you paint that specific picture? What was the colors that you selected? What was the feeling or mood that you were trying to convey artistically in that creative space? So this is really about telling us how you are being creative and that creative process. Next slide, please. So this question is, what would you say is your greatest talent or strength? How have you developed and demonstrated that talent over time? So this one can be a little tricky because it can also kind of be like the creative question as well. There could be a little overlap here where you might have your greatest talent being something that is creative. But this is a little bit different because talent has a little bit more to do with something that's meaningful or important to you and why, and how does that talent come to you naturally? And then how have you worked over time to develop this specific talent? So sometimes a talent could actually be something that doesn't come to you necessarily naturally, but you have developed a skill set in this where it has now become a talent. I've seen students write about this specifically with their math skills. Maybe they weren't the strongest at math when they first were learning how to do math, but over time with practice, it became one of their greatest talents because they worked hard at developing this skill set. And then you may have always had this talent or skill, but we want you to focus in on the present and recent past to tell us about that specific talent. So this could be something that's been there for most of your life, but how has it been relevant to you in the current, maybe past 2 years or so, especially as a transfer student?
Alrighty, so this next one, question 4. How do you describe how you have taken advantage of a significant education opportunity or work to overcome an educational barrier you have faced? So you can talk about an opportunity or a barrier that you faced, either or if you haven't faced both, or you can talk about both that opportunity and the barrier. So again, it doesn't have to be both, but if this is significant to you, please write about it. Again, we want to know what you have overcome. So this will give you an opportunity to let us know and write about it. Are you engaged in an educational or mentorship program or a community-based organization like EOPS, Puente, Umoja, etc.? Do you consider these opportunities? If so, what have you gained from this experience? Again, these are opportunities that you can be involved in either at your community college or if you're doing programs with other UCs or universities. Again, that is an educational opportunity that you have taken advantage of. Either you faced a barrier educationally and now are becoming a part of this community-based opportunity and overcoming that barrier. So again, these are just opportunities for you to talk about what you have faced as a student, as a community college student, or as a transfer student, and given the opportunity to let us know a little bit more about you in this area. And then the last part, have you had to supplement your coursework online at a different community college or university? Sometimes you have to take community college level courses at multiple different community colleges. So again, that is a barrier that you could talk about and let us know how you were able to do that within your time as a transfer student. Next, question 5. So describe the most significant challenge you have faced and the steps you have taken to overcome this challenge. How has this challenge affected your academic achievement? So, we understand life happens as a student, and as a transfer student, you are taking those college level courses, which are very challenging as they are. So how have you faced any challenges in life, whether mental health, if you had financial barriers, or if a family member was sick and you had to become that provider for your family. If you failed a course or you failed several courses, how were you able to go into that upward grade trend? So again, there are a variety of different ways that you can face challenges, not only necessarily educational, but personal as well. So you can let us know on this PIQ question. Again, you want to choose a PIQ question that is most significant to you. So if you haven't faced a challenge within your time as a college student, you don't need to write about this question, right? You have 6 other questions that you can choose from, apart from the required question as well. Have you had a difficult experience in your life? Again, has something happened significant in your life that, may have caused a pause in your education, and a year later or 5, 10, 20 years later, you finally came back to school? That is a difficult experience that you can write about. How did you get through it? Did you go to tutoring? Did you, again, take advantage of those opportunities in community-based organizations? Who are you today because of that time in your life? How has this changed you? Obviously, you're growing as a person, but how has this challenge let you become who you are as a student and as a person? What did you learn from the experience? And if you're currently working your way through that challenge, what are you doing now? And does that affect different aspects of your life? Again, I know I mentioned a little bit about past challenges, but if you're currently going through something now and you're finding ways to overcome those challenges, it is amazing that you are. So we want to know, those challenges that you are going through. So please write about that on this question. And then question 6, what have you done to make your school or community a better place? So you saw a problem within your community college, university, or just your community, and you wanted to make a difference. So either, there wasn't any study spaces within your community college and you advocated for other students to have those spaces. If you are a first-time parent and you need, later classes or earlier classes, and you're able to advocate for that. If there wasn't a club within your college that you were really interested in and would feel that other students would also benefit, same thing here, or anything within your community that you have done to make it a better place. This is a great question for you to include that in. What did you learn from this effort? So I feel like, again, this would help with any business students that are interested in becoming a business major. This would be a great question for you to utilize as well, because you are basically being a leader, right? You're letting us know what you did, or you saw that change within your community, or you wanted that change within your community or school. Did you contribute to a positive change at your school or in your community? What steps have you taken to accomplish this? If you worked in a group or need to focus on your tasks, your role, and your responsibilities. So again, is this a group effort or was this a solo effort? So this would be a great question for you to utilize in any aspect that you were able to make a change within your school and your community. And last question, question 7. Beyond what has already been shared in your application, what do you believe makes you a strong candidate for admission to University of California? So this is a very general question because there might be some of you that are applying to several UCs. So this is a great opportunity for you to kind of be more broad in general in answering this question. But again, you are specific to your life. So look at your transcript, resume, and daily routine. Is there anything that you need to clarify, explain, or elaborate in which we won't find in any other PIQ? So again, if any of the other PIQs didn't really correspond to what you wanted to write about or your life or anything like that, you can always answer question 7 and let us know, if there's something else that you see of significance that you want to let us know. This would be a great question for you to answer. And then any other question, they all have the same value. So if you answer this question or if you don't answer this question, we're all viewing it the same. What did you not ask in the application that reflects on who you are as a student inside and outside of the classroom? Again, so just another opportunity for you to show us who you are as a person in your PIQ responses that are not very specific to the question, but just more generalized that you would like to let us know. And then again, because we don't use supplemental information, letters of recommendation, or any resumes, this is kind of an opportunity for you to provide more context from your application or any clarification that you may want to include. This is basically your opportunity to do so in this PIQ question. All right, and then additional comments. So for additional comments, what are they? Additional comments are an opportunity or an additional opportunity, optional opportunity to share additional details that cannot be found elsewhere in your application. So again, if you were in the hospital, for example, for a month and you were not able to submit assignments, this is an opportunity on the additional comment section for you to include that and let us know, I was missing a month of work or schoolwork and wasn't able to, that's why my grade dropped. Or something else significant in your life happened and you want to let us know, you can do that in the additional comment section. Also available in 2 places in the UC application after the academic history. So you can be more specific on anything that has to do academic wise. So again, if you failed, if you received a W or withdrawal, you did a passing grade or no passing grade, if you repeated, anything like that that has to do with academic, you can include that after the academic history. And then again, after in the PIQ. So you can be a little more specific if you want in the PIQ additional comments. But yeah, you have 2 opportunities to do so depending on what it is that you need. And then I'll let Dominic finish off the next part.
So there's a variety of things that additional comments are not for, and the big one is to not respond to another PIQ response. It's not an opportunity to be like, I want to answer a 5th PIQ. We only look at 4, so don't write a 5th PIQ response there. It's also not an opportunity to share links to portfolios, your LinkedIn, your social media account, any research papers that maybe you've been able to complete, any personal websites, any external sources. We do not open any links that are provided, so it's better to just not send them at all because we're not going to open them. And it is not an opportunity to try to impress us with some type of short story or poem or anything like that. And then one thing that is not on here, but I want to highlight is it's not an opportunity to write directly to one UC campus or another UC campus because you're applying likely to multiple UC campuses. So you should be writing broadly and letting us know more about you in the additional comment section. I'm not saying I really want to go to this campus over this campus. Just tell us more about you in the additional comments if you do happen to utilize that. Next slide. So we're going to start going over some PIQ examples here. This is the first PIQ example, and it's based off of the required question that you all will have to answer. I'll give you an opportunity to read this for a few moments, and then I'll summarize it, and then we'll go over it in a little bit more detail. So I'm gonna start summarizing this PIQ response from the student. So they talk about their journey back to going to college. It's kind of the core of this response that they gave us, and it took them a long time to go back to college, about 3 decades. So they give us a little bit of context about kind of their journey, but then they dive into their specific interest area, which happens to be literature. Um, American literature and culture and their specific major. And then they talk about what they've actually been doing beyond the classroom in developing this interest area, but also strengthening their skill set. So we see that they got a vocational job in a screenwriting school. They have interest. They've went into more detail with TV and film opportunities and developing um, different skill sets in this environment. So they tell us kind of this journey about where they're coming from, what their interest area is, and what they have been doing to prepare for their major. I will note one thing that they did put in here that we said not to do earlier was a reiteration of grades, so I would not do that. We do see that, but we're going to go to the next slide just to rehash everything again. So this PIQ response for the required question, it added context. It gave us some information about this student that we probably couldn't find elsewhere in the application when we're looking at their grades and their transcripts and the courses that they took. They told us, hey, I didn't go to college for a long time, but I found this passion and I had this passion. And I took action in my personal life outside the classroom to really develop the skill set. And they really told us more about that, and they communicated their passion for this major in particular clearly in this PIQ response. So we got to learn more about them. We got to understand their particular story, and based on this interest area. So that's the important thing I hope everyone saw in that PIQ, kind of a little bit of a way to write that PIQ response. We don't want you to copy paste this, but just to give you an idea of how to write a strong PIQ response for that required question.
All right, so for this second example of the PIQ, I'm going to give it about a minute for you guys to read, browse over it really quickly, and then we'll go over if it's a good example of PIQ or not. All right, so this one is basically, again, there's some questions about the major. So this person is trying to be a political science major. So as a poli-sci major, they are always aware and preparing for their major. They hear about things on the news and conversations and glimpses that they catch on TV. With the socioeconomic state of the world and country, they're able to learn and understand at a different level that they had before. They're able to closely follow court cases and have a lasting effect in their country just by using their cell phone. They're able to read what's happening with wars across the world on the screen at the gym. They can join national conversation about political movements by texting their mother. There hasn't been a time quite like this to learn, observe, and engage in political science in the world. They go to say that they read articles, watch broadcasts, and they're able to put these situations into understanding. Now, they know that they never were able to have dreamt up 20 years ago, like what they are watching in real time. So they just go on to talk about, how they're able to understand, and they're able to see, political things that are happening on just by on their phone or TV, articles, anything like that. So this PIQ, obviously a missed opportunity. There is a lack of details. Overall, the student does not provide enough concrete or context details in this response. In the little bit that I read, you can just see that they're able to learn about political and what is happening just on like the news broadcasts or stuff that they read. And they're able to talk about it. But again, there's not really enough context as a political science or intended political science major. Connections to their career goals, while they connect their interests to their career goal, it's very vague. They pretty much answer it in the first sentence that they are wanting to go into political science, but then they just talk about where they hear this stuff from and now that they're able to talk about it. Questions unanswered, while they do share the academic subject and interest, again, they miss how they apply this interest inside or outside of the classroom. So as a political science major, intended poli-sci major, what did you do outside? Did you join clubs? Were you in the debate team? Did you create your own club? Stuff like that that they could have missed and could have included in this PIQ. What have they done with this interest beyond reading articles or just watching the news? What else beyond AP political science in high school that furthered their interest in this major? And what is it about political science specifically that interests them? Political science itself is a broad term. So again, they missed a lot of context and a missed opportunity for them to really dive into their love and passion for political science. And again, wanting to become a political science major. They added a lot more stuff that they did, either before community college or anything they've done currently to show interest. And why else, that part that they were really interested in beforehand, what was that like moment that they realized they wanted to become a political science major? Again, so this one's a missed opportunity. They were pretty vague. They could have had more context in their PIQ response. So for
I was going to do this one.
Go for it.
All right, so this is the third example, and this is based off of the PIQ prompt that's asking the student what makes you stand out as an applicant to the UC system. So I'll give you a few moments to look this one over. I'm going to summarize this PIQ response here. So this student talks about their desire to go to the University of California and the vibrant communities that exist at each of our campuses. They like the dynamic environments that exist at all of our campuses, and it's kind of why they have strived to go to a UC campus. And then they start talking about their fascination with UC when they first visited one of the campuses. They liked the environment, the energy. They liked that there was a lot of advanced coursework and extracurricular activities. And they've worked to cultivate a mindset that reflects the UC mission in their preparation to applying to the UC system. And then they talk again about this admiration for the UC system and the UC campuses and being around like-minded people and exceptional faculty and being prepared to go to the UC to a UC campus. and they've always dreamed about going to a UC campus. So this is what this PIQ response is telling us. Next slide, please. So this PIQ response, when we take into consideration the question that's being asked, what makes you stand out as an applicant to the UC system? This student really missed an opportunity to tell us more about themselves, and they wrote a PIQ response that told us a lot about their desire to go to a UC campus, their love of the UC system, but we really didn't learn much about who this person is and any particular unique factors that they could have highlighted about what makes them a strong candidate. And it felt a little bit impersonal in the response because, again, we didn't learn anything about their experiences. We didn't see anything that they have done. They didn't add values to their application here. So it was a very big missed opportunity here. And we didn't learn any additional context that could have filled us in about the amazing person that they are potentially. But we just don't know that because they didn't tell us that. And there is a specific note down here with regards to this PIQ response that it was this was written by AI software. So this is your notation or reminder that you should not be writing your PIQ responses using any AI software like ChatGPT or anything else. You should be writing some authentic responses from yourself about yourself when you're doing your UC application, because we do want to know more about who you are, not what AI software thinks we want to know about you.
Alrighty, I do want to give a small trigger warning. This next PIQ talks about alcohol addiction. So this PIQ example talks about their mother struggling with alcohol addiction. They knew the impact of an addiction, or they didn't know the impact of an addiction would have of them at 14 years old. Now, as a college student, they realized the mental and emotional challenges it presented. They lost their home at 16 due to the mom's addiction, and their father and themselves moved to a different city because of the father, with the low credit score, not being able to afford a place. They were living in hotels. And then when they started high school, they weren't able to provide a address yet because they didn't have one to provide since they were living out in motels. They were opted out to leave high school. So after they left high school, they knew that they really wanted to continue their education. They decided to study and earn their GED. So they continued even after they dropped high school. They enrolled in their community college, and then the mental impact of the mom's addiction, they were feeling lonely, and of course mental health is important and understandable in this situation. After the first semester, they were placed in academic probation because, again, their mental health and they were struggling academically. When they saw academic probation on their transcript, they realized that they were letting their challenges get the best of them. And then they were able to move past those challenges and be able to be put on the dean's list. And now, going through different cities to visit friends, they drive by the motel and understand what the significance of what it was before then. So this question basically answers either a barrier, academic barrier, or a challenge that they face. So it could be either or on there, or again, anywhere where it sees fit in those PIQs. But yes, this is a good PIQ response. It is detailed, it has value. They were able to provide clear details about the challenge that they faced as well as impact. So again, They were living in motels for a while. They dropped out of high school. So that shows impact that they had within this time period. Academic impacts as well. They discussed how the challenge impacted academically. They were on academic probation, and that was a barrier that caused them to, realize that these challenges were overcoming them. And then growth. This is pretty important as well. They had a challenge, but they were also able to show how they overcame that challenge. So this applicant shared not just what the challenge was, but how they were able to grow from it. They pursued their GED, and then they enrolled in a community college in their area, and were also put on the dean's list. So this shows the upward grading trend that they were able to do. And again, they let us know about that challenge, dropping out of high school, but then they realized, this isn't what they wanted for themselves, and they earned their GED, and then were put on the dean's list. So it shows their academic efforts on there. So this is a great example of a PIQ, again, as I mentioned, for either academic barrier and how they overcame it, or a challenge in their life that they faced. And then we'll be going over some resources for you all to utilize. But first, some tips and tricks. Try to keep your responses focused on your experience as a college student. Don't just focus on high school. So again, if you just graduated high school and you want to include something that you did in high school and has carried on through your college career life, you can, but as a transfer student, you're talking about your transfer experience and your community college experience. So try to focus that on your application and your PIQs a lot more. And then, of course, use your own natural voice and writing style. Don't use AI or ChatGPT. We want to know you as a person, not ChatGPT. We want to know you as a person and what you bring to the table. Again, try to be as authentic as possible, using your own voice and your own words. And then write directly and literally. You're not being assessed based on your creative writing skill. So if you have to repeat it to yourself over and over again when you're writing the PIQs, this is not an English essay. So that way you are not taking it very literally. We're not grading you. We're not, deducting points or anything like that. We're just reading them, getting to know you as a person, and giving you the opportunity to let us know who you are. So again, it's not an English essay. Don't worry about grammar or us grading you or anything like that. And then Dominic, do you want to do the last ones?
Sure. So writing in stages is going to be super important. And when we say stages, it's kind of writing big first. You don't have to contain yourself to the word count in your first draft. So with each of those PIQ responses in your first drafts, definitely write everything out that you can possibly think of for those specific responses you want to respond to, because you can always go back and you can edit, you can reshape, rewrite, change sentences, whatever you might need to do to get it down to that 350 word maximum for each of those responses. So definitely write a few drafts over a period of time. Probably give yourself, I'd say, at least 2 months minimum, but you could probably start tomorrow if you wanted to. Get feedback from a variety of people, but not too many people, because you want to make sure that your voice is still coming through in all of your PIQ responses. So maybe a few trusted people, maybe someone in your life is a super strong writer that you have as a friend, and maybe there's a professor or an old teacher who could potentially help you get some feedback. But try to make sure that your voice, when you're getting feedback, is not lost. That's the big thing here. So write across a period of time and making sure that your voice is still there. For each of these PIQ responses, there is no right or wrong answer. This isn't a test. It's not a Scantron test. There's no answer A, B, C, or D, and you're choosing D. So there's no right or wrong answer. This is all about you. The right answer is writing about yourself. And then try to avoid repeating information that has already been shared in other PIQ responses, because if you repeat information, we're not learning anything additional about you. So each of these PIQ responses, as we said, is all about learning new information about who you are. Excellent. So there's a variety of resources available to students in preparing to write their PIQs and actually writing them. I think most of them have been shared in the chat already if you want to copy those out. So the admission website for the UC system, the assist matrix on assist.org, the UC TAP planner. You should definitely be utilizing TAP if you're a community college student in California. And then, of course, the PIQ website where you can see each of the PIQ options available to you to start working on them today. And then definitely scan that QR code right there. That is a PIQ worksheet to help you write your PIQs.
Yeah, thank you. Again, these are all free resources for you to utilize, especially Assist. Assist.org is a great tool for our community college students to use. That way you know the major prep courses that you need for your major. UC TAP, again, is a planner for you to utilize. And your counselors are able to also view that planner and help you out. So great, really great resources for you to utilize when you're transferring. And that is all that we have for tonight. We really are thankful for you guys joining us today and getting an overview on these PIQ questions.